Okay. All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Mario Munoz, and this is my brother Tom, and we are the owners of Munoz Photography based in South Florida. We're super excited to share with you guys today a little bit about how we've built our business as well as scaled into the high-end market. So please enjoy. We're going to get this started. We have some slides prepared for you as well. We're going to ask that you save your questions for us to the end, if you want to put them in the chat. If you have some questions for Mark or John with ACI, you can ask questions throughout the event, and we're going to do our best to try to respond in different segments. So at the end of each segment, we'll kind of pause for a moment to answer some questions. And but otherwise than that, I think let's get the healing to begin. All right. So like we said, we're going to be taking you guys through kind of, I guess the name of this program is Luxury Bridal Portraits That Sell, and how to create, present, and profit from timeless artwork. We're going to open up and start with a slideshow, kind of give you guys a little example of some of our work, and hope you guys enjoy. Okay, awesome. So yeah, I'm going to give you a quick little overview of what we're going to cover today. We'll quickly go through a little bit about our company, some recent news, some exciting recent events that just occurred. Also, we're going to cover a little bit about the benefits of competition, because we truly believe that competition has helped our family grow, not just as image makers, but also our business. Because ultimately, when you care more about your images than your clients, you're continuing to push the envelope and never become satisfied. Also, for everyone out there, obviously, while you're here, some successful business strategies to profit from this work that we do, and also go through some lighting. So we'll get started. So this is our company today. So we were established in 1909. We're actually, Tom and myself are fourth generation photographers. We've had multiple first place finishes at the Grand Imaging Awards for Professional Photographers of America. We've had first, second, and third place Grand Award at WPPI, as well as we've been World Photographic Cup finalists actually now for, I think, the past 7 years. And most recently, we just won the gold medal in the World Photographic Cup in the wedding category. So super honored and excited but this is the image. And also Team USA ended up winning as an overall team, which was super cool. So this is the divisions of our company today. So we do, yes, high-end weddings and events, family portraits. We also own a commercial production company as well. So some of the stuff that we're going to be playing for you today, and I'm aware that there may be some audio issues. So if there are, and you're having some trouble hearing some of these videos, we're going to paste these Vimeo links in the chat so you guys can click and watch the videos either during or later. But video has turned out to be not just a division of our company, but also a huge marketing tool for communication with our clients. So becoming our own commercial production company actually assisted us in growing our business. So not that everyone needs to become their own company, but definitely incorporating videos is a benefit. School picture day. So we actually are, believe it or not, we have a large school business as well, which is very fun. In those photos, we don't necessarily have to be the photographers, so that's a fun part of what we do. And then we do high school senior portraits over the summer, which we're right now currently getting ready for, where we have 1,200 seniors that come through our studio throughout the summer. So down here in South Florida, when weddings kind of slow down because it's about 100 degrees outside, we end up being pretty busy during the summer, and it's turned out to be really cool. Okay.
Sure. So one of the things that we strive for is to always provide more value than your competition. And one of the ways that we do that is by providing things to our venues and just say other vendors in the industry that goes beyond, hey, here are the nice pictures I took this weekend. To give you an example, I'm going to show you a commercial production video production that we did for Mar-a-Lago. So instead of, being in a situation where you're paying high commissions, I learned something a long time ago from actually my aunt, and she says, you want to be in a position that people can't do business without you. So if you can become a vital part of them growing their business, it goes way beyond a referral, right? They look at you as part of your team. And when we show up to our venues, that's actually how we feel, because we are assisting not just in making sure that the bride is happy on the day. Our goal is to help them book more weddings as well. So I'm going to share with you a little video that we did, which is, I think, really nice.
So, there you go. Another kind of interesting thing that we had the honor of doing this year is here, I'll kind of pop out real quick. I already kind of where's the webcam here? I should stop sharing the screen for a second. One of the things that obviously, yes, we do a lot of work at Mar-a-Lago, and one of the things that if you actually guys took a look at some of those videos, hey Ari, can you plug this in? The audio, I don't want to laptop to die. If you actually kind of realized as a wedding photographer, you are the director of a wedding, right? And so when it came to even transitioning into doing film, when we built our film teams and our cinematographers, we were still directing. So picking the right light, one of the things that we've started using a lot more in our imagery is continuous light, which makes it so when we're doing photo and video combined together, there's more consistency throughout your final products. But when creating,
Oh, you go.
so when creating actually this commercial production, it was very simple. So we directed what we want, we set the lighting, and just had the video document. That has kind of gotten us to the point that venues like Mar-a-Lago recommend us, and we were very fortunate this year to actually be asked to photograph the inauguration. We don't just photograph the family and their events, but actually they brought us up to actually photograph some of the actual the family throughout the inauguration process. So let me share that with you real quick. Perfect. Okay. Is everybody seeing the? There's a little lag. Okay, no worries.
So you can go as fast as you want.
Yeah. So this is pretty cool. We got to meet Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg, Jeff Bezos. We actually were inside of the rotunda, which is very, very cool. So this is the Starlight inaugural ball. So the each ticket to this particular ball was $250,000 a ticket to attend. So
That's an expensive party.
this is actually me speaking to Jeff Bezos at the event. So
I want to kind of jump back onto like the main point of this, right, is how do you break into the high-end luxury wedding market, and how do we make money doing that? One of the things that we tell our brides and grooms that I feel is the most important thing we provide is not pictures. It's actually the experience behind the photos. Now, Mario touched a little bit on how we're lighting for photo and video and directing, and that is something that actually has changed the experience for the bride and grooms. So rather than a photo team and a video team having their own agenda, right, and lighting their own, subjects the way they want, we actually, the photographers, work as the director of photography on the day. And being that we kind of dove into the commercial world, we've kind of taken some of those things and applied it to how we handle the events. So it isn't just how the photos look, it's the experience behind them. And that is why when possible, we try to only use available or consistent light so that our photo and video quality match. And that is something that really gives it a much more professional look, especially if you're ever tying those images and photos together, right? If you look at a movie and they have the movie ads, it doesn't look like a different movie. It actually looks exactly as it did in the movie. So that's something that has changed for us and really, I think, has elevated the experience.
Yeah, and even with our behind the scenes content when filming, BTS at an event, you're seeing by using a continuous light, you're actually getting the same quality of imagery. So it's not like the strobe goes off and then the photo's different. So it makes it so that everything combined, even if you don't have cinematographers, and you're just bringing an assistant to do BTS, that's something that just changes the overall look. So it's more consistent with your final product. So yeah, it's very, very cool. All right, so let me get back to our presentation here. Apologize, bouncing back and forth is a little confusing, but we'll get it with you. All right, so print competition. The expression that iron sharpens iron is pretty true. In our business, Tom is probably my most competition that I have. So week to week, either him or my cousin John or our other principals, when photographing each week, we actually have a meeting every Tuesday and we review everyone's weddings. And at that point, we get to see what's being done differently, what's being done new, inspiring each other to continue, and even selecting images that we would use for competition. So this is actually an image that Tom entered this past year.
Yeah, I think it was a finalist at Imaging USA. So this image was photographed at a venue called the Cruise Building down in Miami. And these little girls are actually the bride's daughters. So one of the things that we want to create in our images isn't just the people look good, right? We want a story behind the images. We want the images to be able to allow you to relive that day and that moment. But again, it's not one layer, right? And what I love about this image is how many different layers, and as your eye goes through the image, you have different things that you can stop on. But again, your eye never leaves the image and you always come back to the bride. So one of the things that we try to do is really just not just take the photos and making everybody pretty, but how can we make this into a story?
Yeah, I don't know if you can see here, but technically looking at this, there's a technical term called technical excellence. And when I look at a photo, especially a photo that my brother takes, I think Tom is one of the technically best photographers I've ever met in my entire life.
Oh, thanks, man.
Yeah, you're welcome. So, but looking at this image, if you notice, there is so many different stories occurring. The hand holding their daughter's hand, the first impact from the light coming in hits the bride's face, brings you down her hand into her daughter's face, down to the veil that she's holding, back into the next daughter, that brings you back into the mirror where you see the bride's beautiful light and posing. And it's just like, I look at this and I'm lost. I'm lost in this image and I can't get out of it. And that's really, when referring to creating, apologies, when referring to creating images that sell, like this would be impossible for this client not to buy this portrait and hang it on their wall. And that's the goal in competition. It's not just to win awards or plaques. Yeah, that's cool for your ego, but you know what? That doesn't matter. What matters is what at the end of the day, what serves you, what's your purpose, knowing that as photographers that we have the ability to create moments that matter, that are going to become internalized. And this is a moment that in 30, 40 years from now, when these little girls are adults, this is going to be more meaningful as time goes on. So that's something I'm very proud of to do as a living, and I'm proud of this image, even though I didn't even take it, and my brother did. So, this is we've been experimenting with drones. This is a wedding that I photographed in Costa Rica, and there was this obviously these harsh sun, no clouds, and so taking advantage of where you are and using those leading lines from the shadows was really cool.
One of the things that I love about this image is this image without the bride and groom in it would be an awesome acrylic to put up on the wall, right? And I think that's another goal, right? Is we want to create artwork that our subjects are in, right? And I think this was done really well because aesthetically, it isn't just a picture of the bride and groom. In fact, you can't even see the bride and groom's faces. But them in that photo makes this landscape even better. And that's the goal, is when you're able to place a subject into a scene that by itself is gorgeous, but it is improved, right? Because of there's now an additional story. That's really what, for me, stands out about this image. So good job, Mario.
And when they're really tiny, they have to buy a bigger print to be able to hang it on their wall.
Yeah, that would be terrible as a wallet.
Yeah, so they have a 30 by 40 of this in their home, which is very, very nice. Same thing. This is a wedding, a destination wedding in Rhode Island, titled the Heart of Rosecliff Mansion. So this wedding was actually at the Rosecliff Mansion, and just because kind of does resemble a heart.
How'd you light it?
Actually, I lit it with a continuous light from the top left, which we ended up cloning out the. I know you don't see the cursors, but we ended up cloning out the light off the left side of the staircase. But as you see, it kind of created this cascade of light, giving detail and dimension into the veil, into the dress, and that's ultimately what's important. And this comes with the basics of lighting and portraiture and posing. Is you always want to pick up the detail of a bride's dress. And this, even though it's a back profile, it's still elegant and done very well.
Yep. So one of the things that we as wedding photographers need to do is be able to create a lot of great images in a very short amount of time. And what I have found is when you're using continuous light, you're able to see the effects of that light before you even take the picture. So rather than overpowering and lighting the entire scene, by being able to apply lights just to accent the areas that you want, you then are able to take advantage of the beautiful light and how the actual room look. So we don't want to overpower with light. We just want to sprinkle it in where we want it. And I think Mario did a really good job of balancing that, because if you look at that, like, I would say probably 70 to 80% of the image of the exposure is just available light. But that additional 20-30% is what's really making it pop. And I think that's something to really keep in mind if you're a flash photographer, that continuous light does give you the advantage over.
We're gonna have to move a little quicker, just because I know we have a lot of information I want to cover for you guys. But the same thing, storytelling. This print was titled "Here Comes the Bride." This is a complete candid moment, but just so powerful. This was a wedding in Ireland at the Cliffs of Moher. This was done at Dromoland Castle. That's a this one I actually entered this year. It's a self-portrait of my wife and I. I call these super selfies that we take on vacations. So
yeah, if you haven't seen any of Mario's family vacation pics, I would definitely check out Munoz Family Travels on Instagram. It's probably going to upset a lot of husbands when they see all these photos. So I'm sorry in advance, but it's actually a really impressive job how he has been able to take the skills as his photographer and really document his family's life in a different way.
It's something that I kind of take in as wedding photographers. You're able to move quickly and see light and understand what your goal is. So I just kind of bring a tripod and a camera or a drone, and throughout the past 17 years I've been doing that, and I look back at these memories now, and I'm a firm believer that life is about experiences and relationships, not stuff. And who better to do that with than your family and the people you care about the most. So if I'm going to devote my time into something, that's it. So one of the biggest questions that we employ ourselves as well as you guys is what do you want to be when you grow up? And it sounds funny to say that, but decide on what type of business that you want to build, and make your habits aligned with that goal. So, if you want to work to live, or do you want to live to work, and sometimes people live to work, and that's not what I want to do. I want to work to live, and I want to be passionate about what we're doing and enjoy our team that we're doing it with and have fun while we're doing that. So in doing this, we want to decide, do we want to be the best wedding photographers that we can possibly be? Do we want to be school photographers? Do we want to just be in the middle? And honestly, you do not need to be the best photographer in the world to provide a beautiful life and to be a success. You can be a mediocre photographer, but know how to run a great business, know how to service your clients well and take care of people, and you're going to be uber successful. So yes, it's easy to look at some incredible images or some of the best photographers in the world and say, wow, like if I became the best, that's how I'm going to be successful. Not necessarily. There was a videographer that we grew up with. His name was Ruben Sendry. And I mean, he was great. He did a beautiful job. He wasn't some of this top tier cinematographers that have won every award in the world, but he retired with more money than the majority of those videographers because he took care of his clients. He turned around his work fast, and he took care of people. So deciding what you want to be and where you want to devote your time, and making sure that those habits are aligned. It's kind of like we work out a little bit, and we use expressions. So it's kind of like if I told you to, if you worked out every single day and you slept 8 hours a night and you ate well, do you have to worry about being in shape? And the answer is no, because the byproduct of those habits are going to be, you're going to be in shape. Same thing in business. If you do everything right, you take care of your clients, you're going to be successful. So these are 3 fundamental rules that we believe for success, focusing on higher quality rather than lowering our costs. I understand some people think by dropping your prices, you're going to get more work. You're going to be doing more work for less profit, and you're going to be taking away from the people you care about. By focusing on higher quality, you're going to gravitate towards a higher clientele, which is going to in turn reward you financially for your time. creating new revenue streams in your business, whether it's weddings, family portraits, schools. For us, we wanted to build a business to scale. So beyond just weddings, what happens next? They have babies, then they have families and portraits. And then we ended up getting into school photography, where we're building a scalable model.
Yeah, it's funny. And then at the school thing, it then picks back into the weddings, because those seniors, when they graduate, when they come into our studio, they are pretty aware that we're not just a school photography business. In fact, we have very few pictures of school pictures on the wall. So we want to bring them into the Munoz family, and we want them to know, regardless of whatever you need, whether it's your high school senior portraits, whether dad is doing a rebranding of his law firm, right? Or you're having a communion or a birthday party. We want to be a part of all the events.
Yeah. Go the circle of life, kind of bring them all in. So, okay. Marketing and branding. This is huge. What does your website look like? Is it appealing to the clientele that you want? Is it clean or is it busy? Are you, I'm a big believer in quality, not quantity. So select the images that are your best images that showcase your brand and showcase the difference. And make sure that your web design, invest in hiring either a good company, as well as what does your social media look like? What does your Instagram look like? Make sure you're touching on a lot of different points. Years ago, we were known for a very dramatic look, and what we want to do is be everything for everyone. So, I hate the word light and airy, because that just kind of covers up bad photography.
It's just a filter.
It's just a filter. But,
yeah.
Making sure that you're showing some lighter and airier and candid shots, as well as there's dramatic and the wows, right? So it's just, always kind of taking a step back and re-looking at your company as a whole, as if you were a business consultant looking at your own company.
And if we have internal competition, we have weekly company meetings where we review the work. I recommend, if you don't have someone, right, that you can do that with, find someone, right? And what's great about PPA today is they don't just do competitions once a year now. Now you can enter throughout the year to get that feedback. So if you're not getting it from another peer that you respect, then definitely bring it to the IPC and let judges tell you how to improve your work.
Yeah, I believe they call it merit and review. So they have a competition every month, and you could have your images critiqued. And that way you're having, photographers and judges who actually know what they're talking about, explain to you, the things. And I'll tell you a quick story. Tom and I, before IPC was online, we would fly to Gwinnett Tech in Georgia and watch the judging every year at every nationals, and sit in the back of the room just to learn and just to hear what the difference was, to watch the albums that we never had access to seeing, that some of the most amazing photographers in the world, like Jerry Guionis and Mark Garber, and JB Salih. And it's just, these are icons that when we were coming, I say the expression, it's like, if I have seen further, it's because I've stood on the shoulders of giants. It's not just my father and my grandfather and my great-grandfather. It's icons and people who have inspired us to continue to never become satisfied and to stay inspired ourselves. So, so getting back to marketing and branding, hopefully you guys can hear the audio on this. So we have, when a client inquires and they set up their first consultation, we automatically will respond with this video link in an email. So this is kind of giving them a little vision of Munoz photography prior to their consultation even starting.
So, another thing to keep in mind, it isn't just your website. It isn't just your social media presence, right? It's, how are you presenting yourself? Now, I show up to a lot of events where, like, other cinematographers will show up wearing black jeans and tennis shoes and a polo, right? If you don't dress the part, and you're not going to get the part. So it isn't just one thing, but you got to make sure that you're presenting yourself in the way that you want to, and that your staff is as well.
All right, here we go. Enjoy, guys. As a fourth generation studio, photography has been our way of life. Over the years, we have had the privilege of capturing some of the world's most glamorous events and influential people.
What makes a great wedding photographer is more about the experience I provide for clients and families. My approach to photographing weddings is to have as much fun as possible.
When asked about the most important thing a photographer can provide to a couple, the answer is undoubtedly the experience behind the photo. At the heart of our family is a commitment to creating timeless images that tell your unique story. Okay, let's kind of get into pricing, right? Part of this is that we wanted to share is we used to have packages. And by switching to a la carte versus packages, it lowers the barrier to entry, the initial sticker shock that a client sees, right? So we're going to take you through and show you, on charging $750 an hour versus a $10,500 package. What does that perception look like, right? By breaking down your pricing in an hourly rate, you could significantly lower the perception. So for us, it's like, oh, you start at $37.50, that's attainable. Yeah, I can hire you. Now, you'll see what our average client invests after we're done our process. So, one of the things is the profit realization that we came to terms with. And that's, in any business, the bottom line profit is the lifeblood of your company. Like, no matter how passionate you are, to regress on what I previously said, to enjoy what you're doing and love what you're doing, but ultimately you need to be able to make a profit. And to do that, you need to be able to maximize each client as much as you can. So in my vision, it's not more clients equal more money. It's let's refine and refine and refine and make as much profit from each client that we can before you scale and before you grow, right? So by doing that, it's much more difficult. And here's the other thing. It's much more difficult to get another client than to take advantage and take care of the clients you currently have. So whether that's through products that you're selling, whether it's through prints, wall art, or albums, all of these things are vital to the success of not just your business, but to your life. Yes, providing the highest quality product. Sorry about that.
Turn it off.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Why don't you take over?
Okay. So I love when you guys may jump right in there.
I'll take over. So providing the highest quality product, the highest quality customer service. These are all things, having a plan to achieve those goals, right? Creating your own company roadmap.
Also, I'd like to add, your clients are going to refer clients like them, right? And they're going to be ready to invest what their other friend invested. So if you are known for being a $2,500 photographer, right? When that bride refers someone else, they're going to tell them you're a $2,500 photographer. So it might be a little difficult to start moving the envelope, right? And getting people to putting practices in place so that people can invest more. But ultimately, at the end of the day, it's going to get easier and easier as you service people differently.
Right. And one of the ways that we do that, and we're going to take you through it today, is we don't hit our clients all at the initial consultation. In fact, for us, the only concern that we have when handling a consultation is we have one goal. And we learned this from a florist, and that's get the deposit. You book it and you build it. For us, I'd rather book more weddings than only book a few big ones. I'd rather book a lot of big ones and create them to become big. So, the book it and build it mentality, we've chose this a la carte concept with our products and services by separating the products and services that you offer compared to bundling them all together. And that's our mindset, is we want to book the event. I kind of already just said this.
Yeah, you did. I was going to flick you, but
yeah,
you were going.
So one of the things that we've introduced is it's called the discovery consultation. So after a client will reserve the date, we then will have our customer service concierge contact them 2 weeks after they've booked. And at this point, what our goal is there's actually multiple, but our number one goal is we want the clients to be introduced to all of the different products that we have. So at the initial consultation, we're talking about hourly rate and time and what it takes for us to photograph the event and reserving the date.
With the primary focus, right, isn't to get them to think how much money they're going to spend. It's I want them to feel that their wedding is not going to be as great as it can be if we aren't there. That's why we really focus on the experience. We let them know that we're not just going to show up on the wedding day, right? We want to help them plan out a day for success. And we truly want to know what their goals are, not just the bride and groom, but the family as well. So I think if you can focus on the experience and paint yourself into their day, rather than focusing on dollars and cents and albums and upgrades, right, you're going to book more weddings.
Right. And again, we don't handle this discovery consultation ourselves. We have
think of like a doctor, right? Like,
yeah,
initial consultation, then you go to the lady for, someone else talks to you about the, the additional upgrades.
So beyond the additional upgrades, what we also wanted to do was we wanted to have our clients have a different experience, which meaning we wanted them to be onboarded on what to expect, how to download their files, how to access their gallery. So there are multiple reasons by having this discovery appointment beyond just like, oh yeah, we're going to be selling you product. Yes, that's a byproduct of it, but what we really want is to eliminate the calls that we're receiving and the questions throughout the process. So what our concierge does is explains what's the next appointment, when are they going to do their timeline, and prepares our clients for what's next.
And another thing that you do when you get ahead of their questions and you get ahead of the issues that they have. Now, let's face it, not everybody is all tech as savvy as someone else. So, letting them know how to download, how to share before they even have those questions saves a ton of phone calls afterwards. So the more communication and as streamlined as you can make it, the better it is going to be for your entire business.
Yep. And to get back to what we said, none of our initial coverages include products. So all of our coverages include time only, which the clients include the rights to their files. And then the next consultation, we begin to cover the products. Now, I'm going to play another video for you. And this is a video we created for our concierge to be able to provide value in the album. So beyond just saying, here's our pretty albums and look what they look like, there's no better way than having a testimonial from another client to show what the value and what an album means to them. So
we knew that we were going to be getting top of the line photos when we got Munoz Photography, but it wasn't until we actually got the album. The pages are amazing. Every time I show somebody, the first thing they do is like, oh my God, this is heavy. And I mean, the binding is gorgeous, the acrylic cover.
I'd never seen an album like this before. This album means everything to me and my wife. It came out so great, and I consider this one of our first family heirlooms for everybody to see how we first started our lives together.
The album creation process was actually super simple because they kept us in the loop with all of the photo selections and all the editing and the layout. And because it's all in-house, it just made it even easier to get exactly what we wanted. And when I got the photo album, I brought it everywhere and I showed everybody with eyes that they had to see it. I mean, it's a work of art and I was so proud of it. If there's any question in your mind, you absolutely have to get the wedding album because it's something that you can hold on to forever. And I've never thought that I could love a wedding album so much. And I genuinely love what we were given.
I know we only have like 15 minutes left, so I want to kind of get through some more meat. So this is our album pricing. What we offer to our clients is we offer a retail price on the album if they add it after the fact, or we provide a 20% discount if they add the album prior to. So when our customer service concierge is speaking, if they want to add the album before the event, they get 20% off on the album itself.
And other cost savings things, and again, I don't know what state you guys are in, but what we have done is we separated the service fee from the products fee. So we're able to save our clients 7% on sales tax on their largest expense. And we explain that to them. And I actually add up what the sales tax would have been and apply that to the discount of the album. Right. And in their mind, it's like you're adding, fake numbers, but it's real. I mean, they're spending less money at the end of the day and getting more product.
So just to give you just like I call it money math, like obviously beyond our base services. So traditionally, if you had an 8-hour base, you're charging $6,000 in time. During our timeline appointment, we're adding additional time. So say they add another 2 hours, you're at $7,500, right? Which would be tremendous because that's in time. So there's no hard cost. This is all the service. So whatever you're paying your assistants, your processors, whatnot.
Yeah, and before our packages included albums and started at $4,500. So by being able to be at that point, even if they don't add product, which our goal is to get them to print their photos, right? We're still making more money on the event by separating the service from the product.
So imagine now that client who would initially hire you, and even if they were going to choose 8 hours and they wanted 8 hours, they're at $6,000 in their mind. They added 2 more hours. They're at $7,500. That's without product. Now, if you take a look, adding an album for $3,000, and then by the time they see their album, they're going to add parent albums on. And then our average wedding invests about $2,000 into additional images by how we photograph the day beyond the 50. We're now looking at, and then cover options and upgrades, an additional $8,500 in revenue that we're averaging on each client after the event.
You know, and not to mention, we do sell images to people after the event, and regardless of what gallery you're selling through, you know, it's nice to have a lab like ACI that's able to fulfill those orders. And literally, you know, we're not dealing with printing our own stuff anymore. It gets delivered directly to the client, which again lowers your cost of employees that you need to have. So having a really good lab to partner with is very important.
So this is another thing that we introduced a few years ago, which turned out to be a genius concept, and that's finding a way that you can have your clients pay for your marketing. You know, so we introduced this sneak peek concept where if you wanted to purchase high-res images ready the following day, you could purchase them in different bundles. So either it's 10, 15, or 20 images. And here's the beauty. We incentivize them by getting this expedited service by saying you'll get an expedited file delivery, which is valued at $500. So immediately in their mind, they're like, well, now it's only $150 to have sneak peeks. And then we'll have our concierge explain that a high-res image retouch is $50 anyways after the fact. So you're really getting this. It's a no-brainer.
And if you get an album, what else?
You get 10 free sneak peeks. So
yep.
There's a lot of different ways that you can go about creating this. And then what you do is now you are able to either, I mean, not that you have to do this yourself. We have an actual designer that will stay up the night of an event. The photographers will send him the photos and they have them ready the following morning. One of the biggest things that we realized was what is the most traction that a bride is going to get on her wedding photos is the next morning after she gets married, when everyone's going to Facebook or Instagram to comment and say congratulations. So now instead of our clients seeing iPhone pictures from their friends being popped up and tagged, they actually have heroes that they're able to showcase, and guess whose logo is on all of these images. So this is a wedding that Tom and I actually both photographed.
These are the sneak peeks.
Yep. So this is a wedding that we photographed in Lake Como, Italy this past year. And these were the sneak peeks that were ready the following morning. So again, it's like, obviously clients like this are hiring us for branding, and there's no better way than for them to see this. Are there any questions in the meantime right now?
Yeah.
Let's see.
Well, look. So if anybody has any questions, we're going to wait maybe like 30 seconds. I think there's a little bit of a delay. Oh, there you go. See? If not, we're going to keep on rolling.
Okay. So thank you, Mark. So yes, a lot of the lighting that we use is the level up diffusers in the room. And if I can speed up this a little bit, we have some samples to show you a little bit of how we utilize our level up diffuser in the getting ready as well as in engagement shoots. Ultimately, it's creating a soft window light. Actually, we're using one right now. Yep.
Yeah. One of the things that we've realized, right? I already told you about the video, right? Having good continuous light, but is how do you every window that you photograph in isn't the same. Like down in South Florida, we got tint sun windows. You get weird color balances, which gives you weird color photos and weird color video. And the goal is how do we get the most natural light possible in as little space and as quickly as we can. And this is something that we actually developed for ourselves because we were typically bringing huge soft boxes. But if try and set up a 4-foot soft box in a New York hotel room, ain't going to happen, right? You're not going to have space to photograph the couple. So,
all right. So I hope it's okay if we go a little bit over. We might be going a little bit over. Let's go ahead and get moving. Okay, so spot my photo. So this is a new technology where they use face match technology. All a guest at an event needs to do is scan this QR code and take a selfie. And when we upload the images, it matches the guests to their own photos. So if you wanted to sell photos or digitals to a client, you're able to actually show only a guest, the photos that they're in, not the entire gallery to the entire wedding. So some brides don't feel comfortable with you sharing all of your photos with all of their guests. This is a way that we've found that gives us the ability to sell photos of the guests and also provide a service. Bigger than all of that, the number one thing that we get is data. So how many events have you photographed that after the event, you don't have all of the guest phone numbers or emails? Now we're capturing both. So every event, we now have phone numbers and emails because they're opting in to receive their photo. So this was a,
send the video.
I probably have to send this video as well.
Yeah.
So this year we created a campaign that we went back, realizing that we've been storing files for years. And we sent an email out to everyone saying that we were deleting our servers and offering our clients an opportunity to purchase their files before they were deleted. So I'll play the video real quick. It's a short one. Happy holidays from the Munoz photography family. As the year comes to a close, we want to thank you for entrusting us in capturing your special memories. To prepare for 2025, we'll be clearing our servers by December 31st at midnight. But before we do, we're offering all of our past clients whose images have expired the opportunity to purchase a gallery reactivation of all master files prior to them being deleted. For just under $250, this service will include the retrieval of all of your images from our offsite storage. We will re-export and upload all proofs, retouched images, and album spreads. Everything you'll need to recreate your memories if anything should ever happen to them. If you did not get the chance to order an album, now is your final opportunity. Also, with each reactivation, we will provide 2 additional years of access to download your images at your convenience. And one last thing, to make the season even brighter. We're offering 40% off of all wall art and photographic prints until the new year. A perfect way to showcase your favorite moments. If you'd like us to retrieve your images, simply click the link below to check out, and we'll start the process immediately. From all of us at Munoz Photography, happy holidays, and here's to a wonderful new year. So yeah, so that was a really nice way of saying we're going to delete your photos unless you pay.
Yeah. Happy holidays. We're going to delete your pictures.
Yeah.
No, just kidding.
So,
But I mean, we right now, we have about 400 terabytes on Dropbox, right? And you don't want to know what our monthly bill is, but this, hosting photos costs money. And this was a great way to generate revenue at the end of the year and not have to photograph another wedding.
right, and we charge. So obviously,
We're gone.
we're
Are we?
good. All right, the camera died.
You got it?
So,
I got one.
so anyways, you don't need to see us anyways. So what we do for our albums is obviously after time goes on, album costs could increase. So what we do is we charge $1,000 reinstatement fee. So in our contracts, we have 1 year that the clients have to produce their album or submit their selection of images. Beyond the year, then we will actually charge a reinstatement fee if they want to receive the full credit of their value of their album. So this campaign between album reinstatements and file reactivations ended up generating $150,000 in bottom line revenue at the end of the year. So it made our Christmas a little bit more bright. Okay,
There we go.
let me talk about a little bit about the engagement session BTS, utilizing level up diffusers and continuous light. So this is an event that Tom actually photographed inside of a restaurant for this couple. And it's very, very cool. He's got these new Ray-Ban glasses, so you get to see some BTS straight from his face. So if you could see, he's shooting a continuous light through this level up diffuser. And what this diffuser does is it creates this large softbox without being a strobe, and you actually get to see what you get. So if you look at the quality of light on the Bride, it's just super gorgeous. And if you look at these are the types of images that pop and sell. And I looked at this, and actually this was funny. A funny story is I was supposed to be doing this wedding and I couldn't do the engagement shoot, and Tom ended up shooting the engagement shoot for me. And now the bride wants him to be shooting her wedding. So go figure.
It would have been the other way around if it happened.
Yeah.
But okay, so we want to get back on how to create these images a little bit, right? Everything was done with continuous light. But one of the things that you want to think about when you're photographing with continuous light is not just power, it's color, right? So what we want to do is we want to match the color temperature of the room so we can use the available light as part of our exposure without having two different color skin tones or color accuracy being way off. So one of the great things about using a NAND light is the ones that we use, they're bicolor. So you can go from 2700 to 6500 Kelvin, and all we do before we enter a room is I do in like a gray card, neutral balance, and on my Sony A1, it will tell me what that color temperature is. And then all we got to do is dial in the NAND light to match that color temperature. And now you're not going to have as many issues trying to color balance these images. So in this image here, you probably can't hear, right? In most cases, we would be photographing with that window light. Now, if you look, that window is tinted and it had a very, like dingy color, even when you neutral balance. So one of the advantages is when you're using a level up, it's like imagine having a window that you can put anywhere you want. So you can use your windows as rim lights, as background lights, or even part of the background, and you're not concerned about, oh, I'm pigeon-held into taking the bride's pictures right here.
I'll be honest, when I started shooting weddings and Tom started bringing a level up to the bride getting ready rooms and telling me that I had to do it, and it's amazing, I wasn't a believer until I did it once. And then from now on, I bring one in every single room, even if there's beautiful available light, because sometimes it might be cloudy outside or sunny and it changes and the color of the windows are tinted where it doesn't matter where in the room, you can choose the background you want and have this type of quality of imagery and this quality of light. Like, look at the light in her eyes. It illuminates the entire iris. It's just super, super soft, super forgiving. Yeah. So,
and it looks great on video as well.
Yep. So it's become part of our toolbox. Creating soft light, same thing. We use it in our family portraits. This is a very wealthy family that we do their portraits every year. We've did all their sons' weddings, and they've grown, and like we said, creating clients for life. You could hear this. I'm telling everyone that I got so gassy and I farted to get the kids to giggle. So
Mario also does this really good chicken dance. It's really impressive. Somebody asked, how do you know what color temperature the ambient light is if you're not using a Sony? I do believe other cameras, when you do a neutral balance, will tell you what the color temperature and tint shift is. Now, if your camera does not do that, there are color temperature meters. And if you don't want to spend that much money, the only thing the next best step you could do is go to the actual color temperature dial and move it until where you feel that color is correct, and then match that light to that color.
But if you look at this, the type of light and the type of feel, it almost looks like a window light. It doesn't have this like flashy strobe look and feel.
Like you can even go back. Another thing is when Mario said, we want it to look like a softbox. Actually, we want it to look better than a softbox. And what we've realized is translucent lighting gives a natural fall off of light, much better than a softbox can be. A softbox is tunneled, it's got silver lining, and it's literally like a fire hose of light. where when you're doing it through a diffuser, it's almost like a light mist of light, right? And that's and you imagine how that would feel, but that's what you get in the actual imagery as well. If you look at the shadows on the floor behind the kids' feet, right? It doesn't look like a flash. You don't have those hard lines. Why? Because you're using translucent lighting, not a softbox.
And then think about it, dollars and cents. Do you think that these two grandparents are not going to buy this portrait of them and their grandchildren? I mean, it's adorable. I'd want to buy it. This is a testimonial from Ray Roman. What does he say?
He goes, level up is like a secret weapon when filming weddings in poorly lit situation. It instantly turns average looking shots into stunning imagery with its mesmerizing glow and impeccable color rendering. Simply put, the level up system turns chicken into chicken soup.
Thanks, Ray. All right. Understanding lighting. I know we're kind of over. I'll kind of run through really quickly. Fundamentals, soft light versus hard light. Just to let you know what kind of glass we use, we shoot with all prime lenses. So we have 14 millimeter fixed primes. So 14 millimeter 1.8, 20 millimeter 1.8, 50 millimeter 1.2, and a 135 1.8.
So to get to like some technical stuff here, if you're going to start photographing this way, you're either going to have to buy very expensive zooms, or you're going to find what we found is using primes gives us a higher quality than we were ever able to get with a zoom lens. And if you were to say, listen, Tom, I don't have the money to invest in 4 prime lenses, just buy one, right? I can do 95% of an entire wedding, or pretty much 95% of everything I photograph, with a 51.2. Now, I am shooting with an A1, so my APC mode is like 30 something, is probably like 30 megapixels as well. So that 50 with a touch of a button on the lens turns into an 85. But most of the day, that lens doesn't come off my camera.
Yeah. So kind of the effort paradox, the more effort you put into something, the more effortless it becomes. You know, I understand by changing how you're shooting with primes, but we ended up, this is what I'll give you a sample of what our toolkit looks like. We have Nan lights, we have Pro Photos, and we bring our level up systems. Typically for a wedding, we'll use just a diffuser, either a 36 or a 48-inch diffuser. Showing you a little bit of samples of available light. I know all this is being recorded, so you guys can probably take a look at these later. Direct sunlight if you're somewhere where there's snow, using the snow as your own reflector. You know, this is using continuous light versus strobes. Again, using, you know, custom white balances to make sure that the color settings that you have are matching the ambience of the room are very important.
And actually, sometimes we don't match it on purpose. Let me give you an example. If you're outside and you got that gray light at the end of the day after the sun has already come down, right? And you outside and it looks just dead. If you change your color temperature on your continuous light to be tungsten, that dead gray turns into a royal blue. So, you know, when you think about light, don't just think about power, think about color as well. And you can change the look of your images just by changing the color temperature of your light.
So, and one last thing that we'll finish with is room shots. So one of the biggest reasons why a venue is going to refer you isn't just because you take really pretty photos of the bride and groom. Yeah, that makes them happy. However, what they want is something that's going to help them sell their property. So by doing that and shooting their rooms and photographing their ballrooms like this changes, because no other photographer is doing this in our area. Where we won't photograph a room, we actually photograph 7 different to 10 different shots and merge. So I'm going to take you through and show you really quickly how that looks. So we light every single table individually, because otherwise, you see how dark the front of the room would look? And then we merge them all.
So pretty.
So pretty much, guys, that's it. I know we have a...
Wait, I got a quick question.
Yep.
So when photographing highly active, wiggly kids, can you get high enough shutter speeds to freeze the action? You know what the greatest thing about using available light is you can use whatever shutter speed you want. right? And when in our studio, we do not have a single strobe. We just finished photographing a baby session. My recommendation is to make sure that your shutter speed is at least at 200 parts of a second when you're using continuous light. So if you're at 200 parts of a second, you're golden. Now, when you're using prime lenses, that's not hard to achieve. And because we do want a very shallow depth of field in our portraits, very few pictures that I photograph above f2.
So I know that we went over, guys, and I don't want to take up too much of your time, but feel free. Anyone who wants to hang around, we'll be happy to answer any questions. If you guys want to keep in touch with us, you can follow us at Level Up Imaging on Instagram, as well as Munoz Photography. And thank you guys for allowing us the opportunity to share with you guys, and we had a good time. Hopefully you guys did as well.
I'm just guessing that are they gone?
No, they're right there.
Oh, well, I'm hoping they're cheering right now. Yeah.
I can help.
Well, thank you.